My old teacher, Jim Mays, was a renowned scholar of the Psalms. In his commentary on the Psalms, written later in his career, he made the bold claim that the entire book of Psalms can be summarized by one short sentence. This sentence also happens to be the opening line of today's psalm selection from the morning prayers in the daily lectionary. The sentence, "The Lord reigns." Even those psalms that don't seem to be explicitly about this theme, such as the Psalms of Lament, still have God's lordship, God's kingship, in the background. Psalm 97 is one of the psalms that proclaims God's kingship most forcefully. Hello, I'm Stuart Baskin, pastor of First Presbyterian Church of Tyler, Texas, and this is your daily devotional for Thursday, October 10th, 2024. Hebrew is a wonderful language for all sorts of reasons. One of those reasons is the fact that Hebrew words can convey more than one meaning at the very same time. A great example of this is the opening line of today's psalm, Psalm 97. In Hebrew, it is simply Yahweh Melech. You know the word Yahweh, which we usually translate as the Lord. Melech can either be the noun king or the verb to reign. Hence, the verse can be translated, "The Lord is king," or "The Lord reigns." Unfortunately, in English, we have to choose one or the other, not really so much in Hebrew. The whole psalm is relatively brief. It begins with royal imagery and then moves into a section of praise. Next, it draws a sharp contrast between those who acknowledge God's rule and those who do not, and it ends with a call to the righteous to rejoice and give thanks. Here's Psalm 97. The Lord is king. Let the earth rejoice. Let the many coastlands be glad. Clouds and thick darkness are all around him. Righteousness and justice are the foundation of his throne. Fire goes before him and consumes his adversaries on every side. His lightnings light up the world. The earth sees and trembles. The mountains melt like wax before the Lord of all the earth. The heavens proclaim his righteousness, and all the peoples behold his glory. All worshippers of images are put to shame, those who make their boast in worthless idols. All gods bow down before him. Zion hears and is glad, and the towns of Judah rejoice because of your judgments, O God. For you, O Lord, are most high over all the earth. You are exalted far above all gods. The Lord loves those who hate evil. He guards the lives of his faithful. He rescues them from the hand of the wicked. Light dawns for the righteous, and joy for the upright in heart. Rejoice in the Lord, O you righteous, and give thanks to his holy name. So let me just focus on a few details from the opening lines. It all has to do with royal imagery. In the ancient world, kings wore certain kinds of clothing, usually robes. And the throne room might include the smoke of either incense or torches or both. And the kings sat on thrones that often had footstools, and those thrones themselves usually sat on slightly raised platforms, so that all who approached the king were below the king's level for obvious reasons. In Psalm 97, there is wonderful imagery that echoes these royal displays. The Lord is surrounded by clouds and thick darkness, suggesting either royal garments or the smoke from torches and incense. The platform on which God's throne sits is the twin concepts of righteousness and justice, the key elements in God's very rule, and the foundation of Israel's common life. Lightning goes out from him and mountains melt before him, signs of royal and divine power. All of this imagery highlights the awesome nature of God's power and the full extent of his reign. The Lord's reign is over all the earth, over the entire created order, and even over the peoples who recognize and worship other gods. The psalmist lets it be known that this is not a God to be trifled with, but one who in every way is to be revered. But reverence for God is not just about recognizing God's raw power. It is also about recognizing that God rules in righteousness and with justice, and that God can be counted upon to show favor to those who do the same, who practice uprightness of heart. This is especially important to those who feel as though the world does not value these things and who believe that their best efforts are ridiculed by others. To proclaim God's universal reign, in other words, is about more than honoring God, though it is that. It is also about reminding one another that in spite of present appearances, God's reign is total and complete. It helps to reassure those whose faith sometimes waver. To quote the prophet Isaiah, "They shall see the glory of the Lord, the majesty of our God. Strengthen the weak hands and make firm the feeble knees. Say to those who are of a fearful heart, be strong, do not fear. Here is your God." Sometimes it turns out all we need is a little reassurance. Tomorrow, a penitential psalm that we recite every year on Ash Wednesday. But for now, may God continue to bless you and keep you in all that you do this day and in all the days ahead.